Before we begin, viewer discretion is strongly advised. The following is for educational and entertainment purposes only. This is the verbatim federal courtroom testimony of the Sean Diddy Combs trial, as reported by Inner City Press. When Jamie Foxx entered the courtroom, no one expected what he was about to say. For months, rumors swirled. A mysterious medical emergency, cryptic Instagram posts, silence from friends, and whispers that someone was trying to end him. But now, under oath and in front of the world, Jamie is breaking it all open. He's naming names, revealing what he saw inside Diddy's infamous parties, and exposing the dark truth behind the industry's most powerful elites. With his voice steady, but his hands shaking, Jamie declared, "This wasn't just a health scare. This was a warning, and I survived it." What follows is a testimony packed with secrets they swore would never see daylight, from missing footage, to hush money, to the people who told him, "Stay quiet, or you're next." This isn't a conspiracy theory. This is Jamie Foxx's story, and it might be the most explosive moment of the entire trial. Jamie Foxx took the stand wearing a tailored black suit and a face that showed every ounce of the storm he'd weathered. The courtroom was frozen in anticipation. He hadn't spoken publicly since his mysterious hospitalization, and now, instead of a press release, it was sworn testimony. "They told me not to come here," he said calmly. "They said, if I talked, I wouldn't make it to the courthouse." His statement hit like a freight train. Jamie's voice didn't shake, but the weight of it carried through the room. He looked directly at the jury. "But I've already been through hell, and if I don't say this now, I may never get another chance." Jamie explained that, before the so-called medical emergency, something far more dangerous had already begun. He started noticing he was being followed. Same black SUV, different cities. "And no license plates," he said. "I knew I was being watched. I just didn't know why, yet." Then he detailed an incident just days before his collapse. "There was a confrontation on set. Someone I didn't know tried to shake me down for $35,000. Said they had footage of me at a party and that it could change everything if it got out. I didn't know what the footage was, but I knew who sent them." Jamie says he called the cops immediately, and the person was removed. But the message was clear. Someone wanted leverage, and someone wanted silence. He then told the court that for weeks before that, he had received anonymous texts, strange numbers, no contacts, saying things like, "Don't forget who made you," and "You've seen too much." He brushed it off at first, thinking maybe it was a prank. But when his assistant got an email referencing Jamie's daughter by name and the school she attended, he knew this was serious. "That's when I told my people, if anything happens to me, don't call it an accident. And if I go down, make sure the truth doesn't." His testimony wasn't angry. It was surgical, controlled, like a man who had rehearsed this moment 1,000 times in his head. "I almost died, and not because of a random stroke or a vaccine or some medical complication. I almost died because I knew too much, and I started asking the wrong questions." Jamie paused before diving into what he called the real beginning of the end. He explained that just a few days after the extortion attempt on set, he began feeling off. Not tired, not sick. Office, like something was wrong inside me, but I couldn't explain it. He testified that on the morning of his medical collapse, he woke up disoriented, struggling to speak clearly, and with an intense pressure in his chest and neck. "I couldn't move my arm. I couldn't talk. I was looking at people, trying to ask for help, and no words were coming out." His security team rushed him to the hospital, where the initial diagnosis was vague: possible neurological event. Stroke? Seizure? They didn't know. But I knew, Jamie said. I knew it wasn't natural. What followed was weeks of silence. His family issued a statement thanking fans and asking for privacy, but offered no details. Even his closest friends were kept out of the loop. Jamie explained why. Because I didn't trust anyone. Because in that hospital, while they were poking and scanning me, I realized this wasn't over. It had just started. He revealed that police came to visit him at the hospital shortly after he began recovering. Not just to check on his health, but because someone had called in a tip that Jamie believed he had been poisoned. I didn't say the word, he told the jury, but someone close to me did. They overheard me telling my doctor, I feel like I was given something. He said tests were inconclusive, but he wasn't convinced that meant nothing happened. You don't need hard proof when your body screams that it was attacked. Jamie shared that during his stay, his phone disappeared. So did his personal journal. His security footage from his home the night before he was hospitalized? Gone. My team went to pull it, and the system had been wiped clean. Then, quietly, he said, I felt like I died. And maybe that was the goal. The courtroom was still. The prosecution glanced at the jury, who sat stone-faced, hanging on his every word. So, when people asked why I didn't post a hospital selfie? Because I wasn't playing into that. I wasn't about to pretend I was okay when I knew I was almost gone. Jamie took a breath, and then said the name that made headlines around the world. Sean Combs, Puff Daddy, Diddy. He looked straight ahead and continued, That's who I believe wanted me quiet. He explained that over the years, Diddy invited him to numerous private parties. At first, it was just networking. Cool vibes, big names, expensive champagne. You know how it is. But over time, Jamie said the invitations got more exclusive and more disturbing. They'd say, no phones. They'd ask you to sign something, NDAS, but not just about what you saw, about who was there and who was with who. Jamie said the parties had a different energy than anything he'd experienced before. There were back rooms, velvet curtains, people escorting others into dark corners, and I saw people I recognized, politicians, athletes, actors, doing things I knew they didn't want public. He said he never participated. It felt wrong, and I wasn't going to get caught up in it. But that was the problem. When you don't play the game, you become a threat. He revealed that after he declined to attend a party in 2022, someone from Diddy's circle told him, You acting brand new. You forgetting who helped you out early on. Jamie brushed it off. But later, he started receiving pressure from mutual friends to stop bringing up stuff in interviews. They didn't like that I joked about the parties or mentioned certain names. Jamie also described a specific incident where he saw a well-known male artist leave one of Diddy's parties looking traumatized. He said, This dude was shaking. Said he saw something in a back room that made him never want to come back. The artist never spoke publicly, but Jamie remembered that moment clearly and feared he was next. As Jamie's testimony closed for the day, he said something that left the courtroom in stunned silence. If I didn't speak now, I'd be part of the silence. And silence is what they've used to control everyone. But I'm done being quiet. Jamie Foxx's voice lowered as he leaned into the microphone. This is the part that's haunted me for years, he said, because what I saw didn't make sense until I looked back. He began by referencing a seemingly innocent interview clip that had gone viral. The one where he casually joked that Nick Cannon had once slept on his couch at age 13. It was a laugh, a memory. But then I realized how deep it really went. Jamie looked out at the jury. Nick wasn't just crashing. He was escaping. He described how Nick had confided in him about strange encounters and being introduced to the industry in ways that made him uncomfortable. Jamie said, "Nick told me, 'You saved me, man. Your house was safe.' And that stuck with me." But what really made Jamie's testimony unforgettable was what came next, the moment he directly connected these stories to Diddy. Jamie claimed that several young artists, boys and girls, had passed through Diddy's homes over the years, some disappearing from the spotlight without explanation. You look back and realize they weren't rising stars. They were collateral. The implication was undeniable, that the grooming and exploitation extended far beyond parties, that it was systemic, and that powerful people knew about it and said nothing. The room grew heavier as Jamie Foxx took a moment before speaking again. "Now I'm going to say a name," he warned, "and I want everyone to listen carefully. Kim Porter." Jamie's voice cracked slightly as he said it. She wasn't just Diddy's ex. She was a mother, a businesswoman, and she was scared. He told the court that Kim had once confided in him at a private event, just a few months before her death. "She pulled me aside. She didn't smile. She didn't talk about the industry. She said, 'Be careful who you trust, Jamie. There are people watching us.'" He revealed that Kim had told him she was planning to speak to someone, either a journalist or a federal contact, about what she had witnessed over the years. She said, "I saw too much, but now I'm tired of being quiet." Jamie paused, and then, just like that, she was gone. Kim Porter's death in 2018 was ruled pneumonia, but Jamie, like many others, never accepted that. "She was healthy," he said. "She was active, and she was afraid. That's not coincidence." He then brought up Al B. Sure, Kim's ex and father of one of her children, and the strange posts he made after her passing. He said she was murdered. He said she should have called the FBI. And then he edited the post, like someone got to him. Jamie told the court that Al B. had reached out to him privately afterward. "He told me he didn't feel safe anymore, that things had been moved around in his home, that someone was watching him breathe." Jamie listed the names of others who had died suddenly in connection with Diddy. Heavy D. Andre Harrell. He said, "They're gone. And the only thing they all had in common, besides Diddy, is that they knew things they shouldn't have." He also revealed that two of Kim's closest friends had told him she kept a journal, one that documented conversations, events, and names. "That journal hasn't been found," Jamie said, "and I don't think it was lost. I think it was taken." The prosecution leaned forward. This was the moment they'd been waiting for. A bridge between suspicious deaths, a terrified woman, and a man with the power to bury it all. And then Jamie ended with one line that pierced the courtroom. "Kim was ready to talk. And now I'm talking for her." The jury sat forward. The gallery stopped breathing. Jamie Foxx had been leading to this moment, the night that changed everything. "It was early 2022, he began. "I got a last-minute invite to a private event in Beverly Hills. I wasn't planning to go, but a friend convinced me. Said it was just drinks and music." Casual Jamie paused. "It wasn't." He described arriving at a sprawling mansion, the kind of place where billionaires throw weekend getaways. Security was tight. Phones were collected at the door. "I thought that was odd, but not unheard of," he said. "What was different was the energy." Jamie testified that as he entered, the music was soft. Too soft. People whispered instead of laughed. It felt like a funeral wrapped in Versace. He said he saw recognizable faces. Athletes, rappers, executives, and people I didn't recognize, but who clearly had power. The rooms were dimly lit, candles everywhere, curtains drawn, and then a hallway. They called it the Gold Room, Jamie said. Someone told me that's where the real networking happened. Jamie didn't go in, but he said he saw something through a gap in the curtain that made his stomach drop. There was a boy, couldn't have been older than 17, surrounded by men in suits, and he didn't look okay. He turned to leave, but a hand grabbed his shoulder. "Stay, Jamie. You're one of us now," a man said. Jamie looked him in the eye and responded, "No, I'm not." He left that night and never looked back, but he says the threats started soon after. Phone calls, anonymous DMS, people telling me to shut up before I ended up like the others. He finished part 6 with a chilling admission. That night? That's when I knew this wasn't paranoia. This wasn't Hollywood being weird. This was something else, something evil. And now, standing in court, Jamie finally said what he'd been holding in since that moment. "I saw it. I was never supposed to, but I did, and I will never forget it." Jamie took a deep breath, gripping the edges of the witness stand as he dove into what he called the cover-up phase. After the disturbing night at the Beverly Hills mansion, Jamie said he began documenting everything. "I started saving texts. I told my security team to track the SUVs that kept following me. I installed extra cameras at my house, and even on set." But then, he revealed something that made even the judge visibly shift in his seat. "The morning after my hospital collapse, my home surveillance system had been wiped. I'm talking no glitches, no error messages, just gone." Jamie's security team initially assumed it was a technical failure. But then, we found the hard drive. Melted. Not damaged. Melted. He brought photos, which were submitted into evidence. The drive casing appeared warped, like it had been exposed to high heat. But that wasn't all. On the back-in-action set just days before his health scare, Jamie said he noticed production had become chaotic. Cables rerouted. Security light sensors covered. "One night, I tripped over a wire that shouldn't have been there. I laughed it off until I collapsed 2 days later." He testified that he asked producers for behind-the-scenes footage. Security cams on set, hallway footage, anything. But once again, he was told the files were corrupted. Then came the biggest red flag. The footage from the very night the $35,000 extortion attempt occurred. Gone. Jamie stared into the courtroom. How is it that everywhere I go, cameras mysteriously stop working? Files disappear. Evidence vanishes. It's not paranoia if it keeps happening. He said an anonymous crew member later sent him a screenshot, an email thread labeled Foxx Fire Protocol. It included bullet points, clear recordings, control narrative, and prevent on-set leaks. The production company denied its authenticity, but Jamie believed it was real. It confirmed everything I feared. They were preparing for me to disappear. When asked why he didn't share this sooner, he said, "Because I thought I could get better and move on." But the more I uncovered, the more I realized this wasn't about healing. This was about survival. The courtroom sat frozen as Jamie continued. This wasn't just a testimony anymore. It was a confession of how close he came to never telling his story at all. "I stayed quiet because I was scared," Jamie said plainly. "Because when you're up against people with billions of dollars and private jets and friends in every major media outlet, what do? He admitted that after his hospitalization, he almost signed a document. an NDA that would have given him millions in hush money. They offered it through a third party, he revealed. Said it would secure my future, that I could retire comfortably. But the moment he read it, he knew what it meant. Silence forever. That's the game, he said. They don't need to erase you if they can buy your silence. Jamie revealed that a close friend, someone still working in the industry, begged him not to testify. He said, "They'll never let you work again." And I said, "Then I'll do something else. But I'm not dying with this truth inside me." He then explained what changed his mind, seeing Cassie Ventura take the stand. I watched her shake, but not break. And I thought, if she can do it, I have no excuse. He also credited Al B., Sure, Jaguar Wright, and others who told the truth when it wasn't safe. But most of all, he pointed to Kim Porter. She died trying to protect her kids. I lived, so I have a responsibility. Jamie admitted he still feared retaliation, that strange cars still parked outside his gate, that a friend who helped him gather evidence had recently been mugged under suspicious circumstances. But if I die talking. That's more than most people ever get to do. His eyes locked with the judge. This court may never find Diddy guilty. But I needed the world to hear this. I needed to say it. Out loud, on record, with cameras rolling. Jamie's final words weren't rushed. He took his time, speaking directly to Diddy now, the man sitting just feet away, whose face remained unreadable. "I was your friend," Jamie said. "I defended you. I laughed at the jokes. I came to the parties, but I saw too much, and you knew it, and you tried to scare me silent." Jamie's voice didn't rise, but the intensity behind it filled the room. "You tried to erase me, and when that didn't work, you tried to distract me, but I'm still here. And now, you have to sit there and hear what I've seen." He turned to the jury, then the gallery. "This man," he said, pointing to Diddy, "is not just a mogul. He's not just a celebrity. He's part of something darker, a system that preys on silence, a culture that trades souls for secrets." Then he pivoted to the industry itself. Hollywood didn't just protect him, it promoted him. While people like me and Cassie and Kim were left to pick up the pieces in private. He called out the award shows that still gave Diddy honors, the magazines that called him a visionary, and the executives who knew what was happening but didn't want to lose the bag. Jamie concluded with a message not just for Diddy, but for anyone watching from behind the curtain. You built an empire on NDAs, baby oil, fear, and manipulation. But empires like that, they crack. And when they do, they fall fast. He stared directly at Diddy one last time. "You told people I'd never talk, that I was too scared, that I owed you. Well, I don't owe you a damn thing. I owe it to myself to tell the truth." The courtroom held its breath as he stepped down from the stand. Jamie didn't look back. He didn't need to, because the silence was finally broken.